Hey y'all, I am feeling under the weather, but I just got done wrapping up Joshua 15 and I really want to share it with y'all. So it's going to be quick because of the fact that Joshua 15 seems a little boring considering it is a list of boundaries and land, but I promise you there's a message in it. And I just want to say everything in the Bible has meaning. Even though we try to skip past some of these names and stuff, there is a reason for them. And it is God wants us to see how detailed He is. Even though this land and boundaries and stuff is like pointless to us, it was very important to them back in the day because these specific details were God's promise to them. So I just want to say, starting out, it just lists boundaries around Judah. And then I noted that boundaries are a way to define ownership. And within these boundaries, again, are God's promise. So that is very important. It moves on to talk about Caleb again, and let me remind you, Caleb is 85. It goes on to say how Joshua gave Caleb his portion in the mountains, and then Caleb drove out 3 groups of Anakites. And mind you, Anakites are the giants, and Caleb is 85. So from there, Caleb marched against the people of Debir, and he said to his people, I will give you my daughter Achsah in marriage to the man who attacks and captures Debir. And Othniel comes along, and he ends up capturing it, and he is Caleb's nephew. I know it seems it seems gross nowadays, but back then it was normal. So Othniel and Achsah, they get married, and they are given the land of Negev, and it is very dry land. So Achsah asked Othniel to ask her father for a field, and I feel like this was a way for her to get him to ask in a roundabout way for land that had water, because they were just given a very dry land and they needed water. And I feel like Othniel may have taken his time in asking her father this, because Achsah ended up asking her father herself for the springs of water since she was given dry land. And Caleb agreed, and he ended up giving her the upper and the lower springs, so she got more than what she even asked for. The chapter then ends in a whole list of towns, like a lot of them. Then the final verse notes that Judah could not drive out the Jebusites living in Jerusalem at that time, which becomes a long-term issue for Israel in the long run. So here's my takeaway. God is very intentional with His promises to us. He doesn't just hand us the blessings. He places boundaries around them to define them and protect them and to help us flourish within them. His boundaries aren't limitations. They're safety, clarity, and order. Stepping into what God has promised us requires bold and active faith. Faith that Caleb had when he was facing the giants, and boldness that his daughter had when she asked for the springs. So don't settle. Ask for what you need in order to thrive. Stay obedient so that way you don't face future conflicts. God always protects our promises with boundaries, and He asks us to walk in bold and active faith, and He welcomes us to ask for our blessings that are within our boundaries to help flourish us. Obedience keeps us aligned, and courage helps us to step in everything He has promised us. He loves you, and so do I.